The fixes that are suggested, and it hasn't made any difference.
Okay, I'm not too sure when you mean hijacked.
I Google something, and it's in Google, and then it jumps to Bing. And I looked, and there's actually stuff on the internet about that happening. But
And you have it, okay, in your preferences
on
on
Google.
you have it set for Google.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share your screen?
I was listening while I went and got another cup of coffee. That sounds like if your default search engine is actually set for Google, and then you run a search and it takes you to a Bing result, that sounds like some kind of either plugin or malware.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I want to see exactly what's happening.
Right, which is what I've
there we go. Okay.
Googled and looked for the, what do you call it? The fixes.
Yeah, now
fixes.
Go to general.
Okay, well, now this has taken over my whole.
We just want Safari. There, now click on general.
There?
Yeah. Go to search. Go to extensions. Okay.
All right, so just open a new Safari window and do a search. That's Google.
You're in Google.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
Okay, open your window, the Safari window more.
Bigger?
Yeah. Okay, now go up to the top. Click in this the URL box there, right there. Click it. Backspace. Okay, now type in Bing hijack. Return, there you go. Aha!
Yeah, it went to Google first and then it switched.
Okay, you've got malware.
Yeah, because it went to flash search and then Uber search really fast.
Yes. That's what I thought. What it's done is you've got malware that's gone in and corrupted your search box.
You have malware bytes installed on your computer, Maureen?
Probably not. If I have to install it as something separate.
Yeah, it's a good one to have. It's the free tier. You can just run manual scans without having to pay anything.
Yeah,
I would recommend.
What you have is a web browser malware.
You have malware bytes installed on your computer, Maureen?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's a good one to have. It's the free tier. You can just run manual scans without having to pay anything.
Yeah,
I would recommend.
Yeah. What you have is a web browser malware.
So just go to their site and download the Mac client Mac app.
Malware bytes for Mac.
Oh, this is on. I have seen this symbol on Nick's.
Actually, you could download that trial if you want to. You'll have the premium features for 14 days, and then they'll stop working, but you don't have to pay for it. The premium version is mainly so that you can have it actively scanning in the background all the time, which probably don't need. Malware that you have, I think most likely is, they're hijacking your search, taking you to a Bing result, and when you click on links there, they're probably getting some kind of what do you call it, affiliate
Money?
kickback, and that's how, they're using the malware to make money. They're not actually, corrupt or stealing anything from you, but they're using you to send for the affiliates that they're working with to send them money. And so when you go somewhere where they're not getting any money, they're probably going to take you back there.
Yeah, they keep taking me.
Do you have a different browser installed? Like you have Google Chrome?
This is Chrome, isn't it?
No, you're in Safari.
I have Chrome and Firefox or whatever that is.
So you could use one of those other browsers to go to Malwarebytes. Just type in malwarebytes.com in the URL field. Don't worry about searching for it. Go directly there and then download it from there and install it, and then run a scan, and it should find whatever is causing the problem. Don't search. Don't search. Don't search, Maureen. Type in the URL field at the top and just type malwarebytes.com. Free download. There you go. It's downloading, so it'll be in your downloads folder. Oh, it looks like it automatically launched. There you go. Any other Mac users that are watching this, this is a nice free package to run a scan on occasion. I usually only run a scan when I get a notification that the software has been updated for Malwarebytes. I download the update and then run a scan, and then I just let it sit and hurt until I get the next one. I've never found any malware on mine, but this will find all kinds of adware and these browser search hijacking malwares and even more serious things if there happen to be any. But it's a nice free tool.
What difference does it make? Personal computer, work computer?
They probably don't let you run it for free on a work computer.
Okay, can you turn the screen back over to us and we'll continue the movie? And we are now this month's topic, managing your photos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first go through one that's available on Mac, iPhone, iPad, and the cloud, which is Photos. And then I would talk about one that's available on all platforms, Android, iOS, Mac, PC, cloud, and that's Adobe Lightroom cloud version. And then time permitting, I'll go into the classic version of Lightroom. So let's proceed. One of the things we're going to take a look at in Photos is the main screen over here and everything that's available to you. So let's go take a look at Photos. Up. Okay. Right now I'm in the overall view. And I'm going to go into the Photos view. Now this view right here sets everything up by date, years, months, within a year, days, or all photos. And this is a way of finding what you're looking for. So if I know the year, I can come down here, 2016, within 2016, doesn't work that way. Okay, here's the year. Okay, there's 2016, April, May, June. Come back in the year. Let's go to 2017. And it goes in by days within that year. It also sets up something called memories. And it goes through and groups photos based upon an AI algorithm. And these are all the photos, trips to Bay Lake, which is where it thinks we are. And this is one of our trips to Orlando with our daughter. And come back, it goes up and says, and this This is a really good way to go back and reminisce on trips. Here's our trip to Shanghai Disney. And I didn't have to do anything to do this. It went through and used the data contained in each of the photos to do this. Another album up by default in your library is your favorites. These are ones that you've gone through and identified as being a favorite, and you do that by this little icon right up here. When you click on that one, that either makes it a favorite or not a favorite. And then another cool algorithm is that you can go through and identify, it goes through and looks for people. And so it says, hey, I recognize these people. You told me who they are. This is Alexandra. It says, are these the same person? Yes, it is. So it groups them together. This is Doug Nielsen, and looks at my contacts. So that's a really cool feature that helps you identify people real fast. And you can go in your normal photos and identify people that it misses. But it does a pretty good job. We come in here now, and these are all the pictures that it's found of my daughter automatically. I didn't have to do a thing. And it also has identified places where we've gotten photos from, related albums that it's found, and it gives you options down here, which is pretty self-explanatory. Oh, that also up here that pictures it's not sure of. So we're going to go through and it's going to say, are these all Alexandra? Yes, they are. So it's just added those to the photos. One of the really cool options of photos that people don't take advantage of is places. And what this does is it brings up a map that defaults to your location, which in this case, the United States. I have a satellite view or a grid view by places. I personally like the maps, get a larger and larger and larger view. I can go around and say, okay, geez, I have 143 pictures from Hawaii. I have 285 from Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing. Actually, this is Xi'an. And it groups it to find things. Now, how it does this is that on your phone and in many cameras, it has a GPS capability. And it tags those photos with your GPS location. Photos goes in and reads that information, and that's how it knows where you've been. And we can go in closer. Let's go, right over here. I just tapped on it, and this brings up all the pictures from that location. Now I'm going to come back here, and we're going to zoom in a little bit closer in that same location. Notice now that it is separated that area. We're getting more refined.
John, Nick had a question in the chat.
Oh, okay. You're on, Nick. The question is do you have to do anything to activate the GPS tagging? On the iPhone, iPad, and most smartphones, no. On a camera, some cameras have it where you can turn it on and off. So you need to check your camera to find out if your camera supports GPS tagging and if you can turn it on and off. So you can see that the more I zoom in, the more refined the locations become. That to me is a really, really cool feature. Now also it has recents. It goes back and shows you, yes.
Richard has a question.
I am on either my phone or my iPad where all my pictures are. Now, do you have is there the same, if I tap on a picture, it'll tell me where it is.
Yes.
But I don't have a button that I can click on that says places. Is there, you were showing a sidebar on your photos that listed places and memories and all that type of thing. Is there something like that on either the iPhone or the iPad?
I've got it up, John. Yes, there is. You need to tap on the albums tab, and then you'll have to probably scroll around. But there's a section called People and Places, and you tap one of those two within it to bring up
how do I get
the map.
How do I get to the albums tab thing? Okay,
You just
never
tap
mind.
on the word
I can't
album.
tell you.
Okay, I found
Yeah,
it.
somewhere in your interface on the iPhone, if you're looking on the iPhone in photos, the tabs are at the bottom. There's photos for you,
Okay.
albums, and search.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can see my iPhone here right now. Here's the albums right down here. You click on photos. These are memories.
Right, I have all that, but if I don't have a thing that's, how did you get to a thing that said places?
It's under albums. There you
Mine-
go. People and places. You just
Oh, there
went
it
by
is. Here's places.
Okay, so it came up, people and places came up, but do I just click on places to get,
Click on places.
oh, I see, okay, thank you.
Okay. Here's the reasons, and this is what you've imported in reverse order. So it just goes back and shows, you know, the new items, what's already been imported. And this shows your imports recently deleted. Now, here's something a lot of people don't know about. When you delete something in Photos, it doesn't delete for 40 days or up to 40 days. So to get rid of all these, you select them and then delete, and that permanently deletes the messages. Only do that if you're absolutely sure you never want to recover them again. LaRue, you have a question.
I do. I've had a problem with this for quite a while. Barry looked at it for me, but it's still happening. I just looked on recently deleted, and there are all kinds of pictures on there that I did not delete.
I remember this, LaRue. It was tied to using Google Photos.
Right, but
And when you transfer something to Google Photos, it takes it out of your Photos library, and that's why it thinks it's been deleted.
yes, I remember that, and I was very careful after that to never click on anything in Google Photos, giving my permission to do anything like that. So if it's doing it still, then I don't know how to
Because
stop.
Google Photos automatically does that unless you specifically turn it off.
Okay.
Right. You have to turn off the automatic saving to Google Photos.
Okay. And is that done within that app, or do I have to go someplace else?
You have to go into Google Photos in the map. Here, let me show you.
In the app?
Yeah, let me bring
Okay.
up,
Google Photos app.
yeah, hang on
Right.
just a second. Oh, where is Google Photos? I need to check and find out. I think it's in settings.
Yeah, in iOS, it may be in the settings app.
Phone settings or Google settings somehow?
Apple's
Okay, I'm on.
Apple's convention on iOS is for application settings to have an item in the main settings app on iOS. So you go into settings in iOS, and then scroll.
Okay, let me.
You'll find a list of applications.
Okay, now I'm on settings, and now where?
Okay, watch my screen. Okay,
What?
go into settings. Up in the search box, type in Google
Oh, wait a minute.
Photo, just like I've done, and I'll bring this up.
Just a second. Okay, Google Photos, got that.
Tap on Google Photos.
Yeah.
It'll bring up this screen.
That mine doesn't look quite like that.
You
Okay.
should have
Okay. Yes.
second one down. It says Photos.
Yes.
Click on that and tap on Never,
Okay.
and that'll fix the problem.
Thank you.
Further investigation of this problem has indicated that Google does not, by default, delete photos. So we're still researching to find out exactly why her photos were getting deleted.
John, Nick had a couple more questions in chat.
Nick is asking a question about photos. Okay, but you said everything's grayed out.
Yes.
What's grayed out?
Okay, when I go to Photos and go to Preferences, I have that little window like you just showed.
Yeah.
But if you go to Photos and you go to the top, very top row, and you go to View, and you drop down to Metadata, the metadata that's being collected, titles, keywords, edited, file types, favorite, referenced file, and location are all grayed out.
Ah, okay.
Although titles, file, and favorites are chosen. So if I wanted to turn location on, I can't get to it. And when I went to the map view, most of my photos don't appear to have location data because they're not showing up on the map.
Okay. Are you taking the photos with your iPhone?
Yes.
Okay. You have to open up a photo, and then they're available, and click on location.
Okay, do I right click on a photo itself?
Not right click, just double click on it. That opens
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Come to view, metadata, and there.
Okay,
It's
so I
available.
would have to do that. Is there a way to do that to all my photos? Because
Yeah, just give me a second, okay?
okay.
Okay. What we need to do is switch to a gallery mode. Okay, I've created an album. I'm going to select all of them.
Okay.
Come to view, metadata, and I can set the metadata now for all the photos at one time.
Okay. If I want to do that to all of my photos, is there a way to do it to the little photos thing up at the top on the left under library?
All photos. Okay. Select all.
How?
Control A or Command A. Or up here in
Oh, I didn't know Command A. Thank you.
select all, view, metadata, location.
Okay, and when I go back to places, the number of photos in the 3 locations that it shows has not risen.
Then that means that the GPS tracking on your photos does not exist. The metadata is not on, those photos don't have GPS tracking.
I have some input here, if you don't
Yeah.
mind, John.
No, go for it.
That view menu in photos does not have anything to do with any selections. It's just controlling what you're viewing when you're looking at your library. So turning on and off location, all it will do is, like if you're looking at a grid of all your photos, it'll put a little pin icon in the upper right corner of the image thumbnail to indicate that that photo has location data attached to it. Same way with all the other metadata check marks. So if you want to show which ones have had edits, you turn that on and it has a little slider icon that shows up in the upper right corner. If you have titles turned on, it'll show either the file name itself or a title you have given it in photos underneath the photo thumbnail. So it doesn't have anything to do with a selection. It just has what you're actually looking at any one time, what you're getting indications for in terms of the metadata that is on those images.
Yeah. If you click on the little pin, it brings up the info box and it shows you the metadata that you have. And that way you can find out if there's metadata at all for the location.
Okay, so I'm assuming I also have to have that turned on my phone to have it capture that info?
It's on by default. You can't turn it off. So why you're not getting it, I don't know.
Would you show this select delete sequence for photos again one more
Sure.
time, please?
Okay. What I'm going to do is, here we go, screenshots. I'm going to delete all these screenshots. And I'm just going to hit the delete key, delete them. Now I'm going to come over to recently deleted. And these are all the ones I just deleted. Now, to actually delete these, I can do delete all, or I can select ones that I want to delete. Delete 5 photos. Yes, Barry.
Go ahead and finish your delete thing, but then I'll go back to the location settings for photos on iOS.
Okay. And that's how you delete
You
it.
can turn it on and off.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a new one on me. Or you can hit Nick, delete all, and that deletes them all. Okay, Barry, please, because I could not find it.
So I'm in settings. I first looked in the photos section. It wasn't there. You have to go to location settings. So I just tapped in location, and you have to scroll down, I believe, mostly, and go to photos. And photos can use your location either never, or ask the next time you open it, or while using the app. So if you have it set for never, it's never going to put your location data on the photo you take. So once again, it's in the location settings on iOS, not the settings for the Photos app itself.
For Nick's problem with the camera, it's location settings for the camera, not for photo. Because if he has that turned off, then
Correct.
the camera
You're
will
correct.
never put the GPS in it. So Nick, you need to go on your phone to location settings for the camera and make sure it's set to while using app.
You're absolutely right. Thanks for that clarification.
I just figured it out myself.
To answer Maureen, the easiest way to go to any particular setting if you don't know exactly where it is, like you want to change something about a location setting for something, just bring up the search bar in the settings app and type location, or start typing it, and you'll see it appear. It'll be the same way for, if you go to camera. So if you go to the actual camera app settings, there's nothing to do with location. So all of those location settings for all your apps are under location in iOS. And there's a long list of all your apps and how they're using your location on your phone.
Okay, Nick, did that answer your question?
I wrote in chat.
Oh, okay. I don't understand the question.
If I'm in Costa Rica teaching and my location services are on, so it's using the GPS stuff.
Yeah.
Is that going to use data that I'm then going to get charged through one nostril or the other for?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, I've used it traveling all over the world, and if it does, the amount that it brings down is bytes.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to avoid, is getting bit.
Okay. At most, if you spend, say, a month overseas,
right,
and you're only using location services, you may get charged a dime.
Okay, that I can cope with.
Okay, so let's get back to wherever we were. One of the other things I want to talk about is you have this menu down here on devices. This shows what devices are connected that you can import from. This is an SD card that I have installed. This is my phone, so I can go and import directly from the phone. And if you saw before, yes, I do have 12,000 plus photos in my photo album. And it's still this fast. This is one of the coolest things about photos that is underused, is shared albums. So what I can do is I can create an album that I can share with anyone with an email address. So I can create a new album right down here. The album name is Meeting Demo. I'm going to invite Barry, and I'm going to use his, which one, Barry? This one?
Yes, mac.com, that's good.
Okay. Comment. Now that's a new album with no pictures in it. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag this photo to that album. So that photo is now in that album. Barry, I'm going to stop sharing and I want you to share your screen and go into photos and show them that album just showed up.
Okay, but I have to accept the invitation first.
Ask your question. That's what we're here for.
Ask your question while I figure this out.
Okay. You were showing, when you first started, you were showing how your screen would come up and say, are all these pictures Alexandra, or whatever.
Yeah.
I have several grandchildren, but I have a bunch of baby pictures here. I think it's Hannah. I do have Hannah's picture on here, and it says her name, Hannah. And I click on it, and I click on Hannah. It only says that I only have one picture of Hannah. So how do I name the rest of them?
So let's go over and let's pick a photo.
This is on my iPhone or my iPad.
It should be pretty much the same. And I'm going to come up to here. Right down here is where I add who this is. Now I need to come to faces, click on add, and this is Dawn, Unit 10. And now that has been named.
Is that on your computer?
Yes. Now let me go bring up the iPhone. In order to add a person on an iOS device in Photos, first open up your albums, then click on a photo, and we'll select this of the person that you want to add. In this case, we selected this one here, and then you swipe up until you get this dialog box right here. Then you select the person that you want to add the name to, click on that, and you come to the Add Name box. And then we want to add a name, so we're going to click on Add Name, and this is Carl Nielsen. Then click Done, Next, and now you have it. That person is named Carl Nielsen, and you now have all the pictures of him that you found have been identified. And now we're going to go over to the People and Places album, and we see the Carl Nielsen right up here has been added. Okay, and it works the same way on the iPad. Now, are there any other questions?
Nick has another question.
When I went to import from the phone into Photos, it has a thing when you're importing where you can select a folder for it to go in.
Yes.
It didn't go into those folders, it went into imports. And then I had to move it from imports to the folders that I've got on my left-hand vertical grayed out bar. And when I pulled it into the folders already made, it made a subfolder in that overall folder, which is fine. But how do I make the imports work in the way I assumed it would? Whereas if I say I'm pulling these 30 photos from my phone onto the drive on my Mac, on my desktop, in the cupping folder, they show up in the cupping folder, not in the imports folder.
Okay. We're going to come over here to New Album, create it. There it is. Import it. And it's not working. So let me try this. This is interesting. Let's take a break, everyone, while I see if I can figure this out. I'm going to be offline for this one. Barry, if you could stick around.
Luru.
Yes. While John's screen was on screen, in the photos, on the left-hand side, I saw there was a place for shared devices.
Devices.
Yeah, he was like accessing, well, I thought he was accessing like his phone from his computer.
Well, it's
That's correct.
not shared device. There's two different categories. There's a devices and there's a shared category. They're not combined.
No, I mean just the devices then. If it's what I think it is, I would like to be able to access the photos from my phone and from my iPad while I'm working on my computer without having to go in and airdrop each one.
Okay, yeah, that's what the devices section is for. If you plug something into your computer, an iOS device, or a camera card reader, or a camera itself, that allows Photos to see what's on it and to import them into the photo library.
So if I physically plug in my phone to my computer or my iPad into my computer, then that will show up, huh?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, right over here, you see where it shows my iPhone? Okay.
Yeah.
My iPhone is plugged in to the computer.
That's how you get it. Okay.
And I just imported, let me import a few more. I can tell you what happened. And they came directly into my demo folder right there. What I had to do is I had to bring up Photos and then plug in my phone.
Okay.
For some strange reason, it got confused and it had not prepared to import them correctly. So you bring up Photos, plug in your phone, and you'll see a dialog that comes up and says preparing to import photos. and then it worked perfectly.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
And then you can plug in, I have an SD card here. I can plug in my iPad and do
Uh-huh.
the same thing. And
Okay.
that's how you, now, I'm going to come over here to MVCUG Meeting. This is what's in the folder right now. Barry, please bring it up and show that. Let me stop sharing.
All right, can you see my photo library screen?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna open shared albums, and now the meeting demo finally came in.
Okay.
And here's a picture of John that I added just while we were on the break. And the one that John added earlier is of me is there.
Uh-huh.
How did he got in my office to take this picture? I don't know.
Okay,
Sneaky.
so Barry, I want the screen back. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't know why I haven't got yours yet. I hit do not disturb on, that's why. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to, I'm going to take these 3 photos and I'm going to bring those over to meeting demo. Now, Barry, bring up yours, and they should show up in yours fairly soon.
I do have another little utility called trip mode. I'm using my cell data for this instead of my home ISP because my home ISP is so crappy. The trip mode software throttles or blocks a lot of network traffic to keep my data rate down. Let me relaunch photos because I turned it off, and then that's how I got your album to finally subscribe. I've got them loading now. Yeah, there they are.
Now, normally speaking, this is almost
Whoa.
instantaneous in sharing stuff. Of course, because we're having a demonstration, that's why this is happening. So that shows shared albums.
One more little thing about it. We use this in our family a lot for, holidays and birthdays and other gatherings when we're not together, but we can share what's going on with each other in our own local locations. And one of the things we like a lot about it is you can type comments. So if you bring up one of the photos and tap on the little chat icon in the bottom left of the photo, you can like it, and you can even type something. And the chat also supports emojis. And we have a lot of fun in our family making snarky comments or asking questions and stuff like that when we are sharing photos across the country.
One of the things that we're going to be showing in a bit is how to set this up so your photos are automatically uploaded from your phone to your computer and your other iOS devices. So you don't have to worry about that. I want to talk about some of the albums you have available to you. The one that people don't look at is media types. One click of a button and it shows all my videos, all my selfies. Now, not just me, but any selfies that it finds, all the live photos that I have, all the portraits that it recognizes as a portrait. And I got any long exposures, panoramas, time lapse, slow motion, which I didn't even know I had any slow motion, bursts, which I use quite a bit to capture certain things, any animated ones. And then we go into my albums, where you can create a folder, and a folder is a collection of albums. Over here, you can create an album. A smart album is where you can go through, you remember the media types? A smart album, I can go through and set up parameters. And I have, all kinds of things. The person includes Alexandra. So I can set up an album where all these conditions are met. And I come down here to, what did I call that? The smart album, demo smart album. That shows 36 matches. And I want person, Alexandra, that shows 8 matches. And those are the 8 photos. Oh, and the Barry's picture just showed up under activity, under shared albums. That just came in. And I've got, where did it put? I know it's there because I found it. I used the search capability up here to find that missing album. Under my albums, when I couldn't find it, here are all of my albums, and I know it's here someplace. So I just typed in the title of it, which is Demo Smart Album. There it is, and it found it, and that's what's in the album. meeting the criteria that I just set up for it. Projects, this is kind of cool. I can go in under projects and I can create books. Now, these are extensions you have to download, and they do cost, and you can directly get them from the App Store. But books, calendars, cards, wall decorations, I can print slideshows. I can create a slideshow. Like, let's say that let's create a new project and I want to make a slideshow of photos. New slideshow name is food, because that's what I had selected. And I now can play that slideshow. I'm going to stop it right there. And you can go in and change the music. You can change the lapse in between each one of them. Now, is it a very sophisticated slideshow? No. Is it a slideshow? Yeah. But those are projects. You can do create a photo book and send it out to either Vimeo Photos or MPix. I do want to show one thing before I show editing, which is where I'm going to end today. Let's talk about searching for a second. Let's go over to photos. I can search up here on a lot of different parameters. So let's try locations, Los Angeles, California. So all the photos, I had 34 photos of Los Angeles, taken in Los Angeles. Now let's narrow that down. Now you can see it, okay? So I'm going to do Los Angeles for a location. And now within that same search parameter, Alexandra, and now it has gone and found Los Angeles and Alexandra Bueno. So now it's like a smart album, but using search. And I can go through and search in the metadata on locations, people, if I'm using keywords, and put all that together. Now, one thing I want to show is I have a video I want to show you. This is a little video on iOS settings for photos. So we'll just go ahead and watch that. What I'd like to do is show you how to set up so you can save all your photos from your phone to other devices, both for iOS and Mac OS. What we're going to do is go into settings and set. Can everyone see my desktop? Yeah, okay, there it is. Okay, do this again. What I'd like to do is show you how to set up so you can save all your photos from your phone to other devices, both for iOS and Mac OS. What we're going to do is go into settings, and in settings, I'm going to search for photos. There it is. And then one of the settings is iCloud Photos. It automatically uploads to the cloud, so you can get it off all devices. Unless you need the full resolution, I recommend optimize the iPhone storage. That way you don't use up a bunch of space on your phone, but the originals are uploaded to the cloud. You can download and keep originals. Upload to my photo stream. It uploads the last 30 days of content and keeps it up there. Also allows you here shared albums, allows you to turn on and off shared albums. Cellular data, whether you want to use cellular data to upload or just use Wi-Fi. And the other ones are pretty self-evident in here. But this is the one, iCloud Photos, the one I recommend you turn on. That automatically loads all your photos and videos up to the cloud for cloud storage, and then you can access them from any of your devices. Hope that helps. Okay, and that's one that I really wanted to, yeah, Barry?
Just want to point out that uses your iCloud storage. So if you're still on the free tier of 5 gigabytes, you may not have enough space for your entire photo library, and you may have to subscribe to extra iCloud storage.
Okay, Ava, you're absolutely right about this. It's taking a lot longer. She wanted to know when we can schedule for PC users. One thing I can tell you, if you have an iCloud account, all this is available to you in the iCloud for any platform. So let's say you have an iPhone and a Windows machine, you can use the iCloud version of this, which is almost identical. We are going to reschedule, and probably, Barry, I'm going to say let's do it next month. I'll do the Lightroom version, which is multi-platform for everybody, since this took way longer than I was expecting it to. So we'll change it for next month. What was next month, by the way? What the topic was, you remember?
I'm looking it up.
Okay. But yes,
It was supposed to be how mobile computing devices affect our lives.
okay, we'll move that one. We'll do photo management.
Because everybody's
part 2.
life is different now anyway.
Yep. We'll do part 2 next month. But like I said, if you have an iCloud account and an iOS device, you can do this through the cloud. Now, if you have an Android device, Google Photos is very similar to this. And that's available on Android devices and Windows and the Mac and iOS. It's not quite as robust, but it comes close. Okay. Ava, how are you taking your pictures? Do you have a digital camera? Okay, what you would do is I would recommend for right now, your best option free is Google Photos. The question was, she only has a laptop, no other device, no smartphone. Google Photos available free for the laptop. The one I'm going to be showing next month is Lightroom Cloud. But I would suggest that your best bet is Google Photos. And I have that one scheduled for an upcoming meeting, which I may move up since there seems to be so much interest in this. So we will cover, what I will do is next month, Mary, I'm going to change it from Lightroom to Google Photos. Because that's a very similar to this, and show you how to use it, because that's multi-platform also. Now, what I want to do is go back, and I'm going to bring up one of the most unheralded aspects of photos, which separates photos from my Google Photos. I'm going to open up a picture, this one right here. This bar over here is my editing bar, where I can share it, get info on it, designate it as a favorite. The magic wand is auto enhance. What that does is goes through and makes any corrections it thinks is necessary. And it brightened up the image, changed the contrast a bit, or I can go into edit. Now in edit, I've got a huge selection of editing tools. I can change the lighting either by looking at it, by pictures. I can come in and change it manually. The shadow balance, brightness, that's under light, or I can do auto, which goes through very much like the magic wand tool. Under color, I can desaturate it, heavily saturate it. I can change the cast. The one thing that I cannot do, which I wish that photos had, is color temperature, which is somewhat like cast, but not quite the same. I have an option for making it black and white, and I can control the black and white, the intensity, affect the neutrals. I can do retouching, where I can come in here and I use the option key of what I want to cover this. So I'm going to take these rice granules and get rid of the raisin. Most people don't know this exists in photos. So I can go through and edit it that way. I'm going to get a different photo now. Let's take this one, go into edit. I want to get rid of this distractor right up here. So I'm going to go into, pick it up right there. And I've got rid of it a little bit. And like right down here, I'm holding down the Option key. I can get rid of that light. Now, these tools are not nearly as extensive as you find in a program like Photoshop. They can really help on small things. Little distractors like we're seeing up here to improve the photo. I have other, there's white balance. Okay, so it does have white balance. I could warm up the image or cool it down on skin tones. The overall temperature, I can change it and make it more green or more magenta. I can find some place that is neutral gray and set the color balance that way. I can go in and change selective color, sharpening. I can create a vignette. You see in the corners, that's called a vignette. And that helps emphasize the picture more. I can do noise reduction. I can sharpen an image by definition. These are all capabilities in editing photos that is, for most of what people do, this is all you'll actually need and more than that. Now, the more advanced you become, you can do compositing, which is put two pictures together. But this does a great deal to prove if your picture is slightly off, you need to fix it, you can easily fix it. I can reset everything just by one click of a button, bring it back to normal. I'm going to open it back up for questions. I can also, I can crop, which allows me to rotate. I can crop an image and get rid of distractors. I can apply filters, vivid, vivid warm, back to the original, a film noir, or I can go where I was before in adjustments. All that is built into Photos. And this is kind of what separates Photos from Google Photos, much more sophisticated editing. This editor came out of a program called Aperture, which Apple combined iPhoto and Aperture into one program. Yeah, Barry?
Nick has a question, but just as an addition, all that stuff that you're demonstrating in terms of making adjustments is also non-destructive. You can always go back to the original if you want to.
Yeah, very good point. It is completely non-destructive. Yeah, Nick?
So you're playing with this and you've gotten half of what you think you want to get done. How do you save this one that differentiates it from the original? So you've always got your original to go back to, and you can keep playing with this when you get done with your meal or whatever.
The only way you can do that is to make a copy. Duplicate photo.
Okay, so probably the first thing to do would be duplicate the photo and then work on the duplicate. And that way you can you've always got a backup.
Well, yes and no. It depends on what type of workflow you want to do. Because your editor is non-destructive, you could always go back to the original and always go back and make the changes, and it doesn't destroy the original. Or you can go and create a duplicate of it and work on the duplicate. It all depends on the workflow and what you're trying to accomplish.
And does it have the magic undo button?
Absolutely.
Or go back button? So you
Okay,
took
that's
it
all right here. All of these are non-destructive.
Right. So say you took it one step too far and you want to go back to the previous, is there a go back button? You made 8 adjustments and the 8th adjustment was too much and you want to go back to what it was at 7 adjustments.
Then right here, just click on that. That little, see it right there? That little arrow?
Yeah, the go
It's
back
undo.
button.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's the undo.
cool. Thank you.
Well, that covers I was hoping to get to Lightroom Cloud, which is very similar to Photos, but available on, but that takes at least the same amount of time that we had for Photos. But let me show you. I just want to real quickly show you something. And what I want to do is up here in Photos, I'm on the cloud, platform independent. Anyone with an iCloud account, which is free, can use this. So here are my albums. We can come back here. Cochise College. That's a video. I don't want a video. There we go. Let's go to this one. Add to no editor. I thought the iCloud version had an editor, Barry.
No, that it allows you management, but there's no editing in the cloud.
Ah, that's okay. So you can do management. All of your albums, just can't edit them. Back to here. Are there any more questions? Anybody have their hands raised? Okay, this will be available online in a couple of days, the entire meeting, after I go through and edit a little bit of it. If there are no further questions, we'll see you all next month, someplace. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.